Hello everyone, this is Boricua Pinks and welcome back to Lake of Voices. It's been forever since I last played this game. The last time I played it, I was streaming it on Twitch and I had finished playing through the game twice. I had played through and pursued my partner. I called him Baymele, Bamele. And then we pursued the woman, Margaret. I didn't really get her good ending, unfortunately. I think I must have missed something. But we kind of were with her in the end, I guess. And then last time I streamed, I was tipsy. And I started on the redhead Lou, but I didn't really get far because I was so out of it that night. So I'm going to restart from the beginning of his, I believe. I think I found a good spot. So I'm sorry if it's stuff you guys saw before during that one stream, but I'm sure I was super tipsy and annoying anyway. So it's not like you guys were able to enjoy it. Um, so yeah, let's continue on. It's about time I get back to this game. So,
I
let's...
still think he should come with us. A person needs a light, and the guide himself said he won't be able to manage on his own. Sticking with us is his best option.
Alright, I really like this game. The music, the atmosphere, the characters, I really, really like it. So that's why I figured I'd come back and finish the series off before I start a brand new LP. I hope you guys don't mind. Okay, so we've already read
It's easy for you to say. It's not.
and seen all of this. Basically, we have a choice to make. Either we stay behind in the dark with Lou, or we stick with the rest of the group if they have light. But this time we're pursuing Lou, and we don't want to leave him to die, so that's why we're gonna stick with him, even though everybody else is gonna be upset with us.
Perhaps I could have let him.
Okay.
You. Don't worry about me. I'll be on my way now.
No, we're not gonna let you die. Okay. Put a hand out to stop him. I straighten my arm out like a rod, blocking his progress past me. He stops, perplexed.
I am not afraid to stay behind, as long as Bemele can remain up front with you in your light.
The guy doesn't say anything, doesn't even blink. Margaret covers her mouth with her hand, muffling some sort of gasp. Bemele smiles sadly at me.
One can always count on you, Kika.
God, such great characters here. It's hard not to ship her with everybody. I still say OT3 for Bemele, Kika, and Margaret. The man, meanwhile, stands with his mouth agape, truly and genuinely shocked.
Well, what will it be?
Margaret sputters for a second, searching for words but clearly unaware of what to say. Bemele chimes in before she can get anything audible out.
I can stay in between you and the guide. I don't need to be right next to either of you. That way you won't have to worry about a repeat of what happened earlier.
I wouldn't refuse you being here.
The guy doesn't acknowledge them. He stares at the stranger. The man shakes under the attention.
No, really. I could just go on my own. It's fine.
No, you poor little cinnamon roll. I step closer to him, lending the support he seems to desperately need.
You do not need to go this alone. I will protect you.
Gosh, Kika's so hot. Oh, Kika's a fine woman. The man stares at me. I return his gaze, willing him to see my certainty. There need be no blood spilled tonight. Slowly the fear melts off of his face, replaced with something like resignation. Then he drops his gaze to the floor.
Okay.
All right.
I grasp his shoulder and turn to the rest of the group.
You should get a head start, correct? You'll have to put some distance between us.
No! No, we don't have to do that.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, you're such a jerk, guide. I'm interested when we get to his route next. Of course, I saved the best for last. Maybe the best, maybe the worst. Unnervingly, there's a hint of an emotion in the guide's usually empty voice. Anger. He starts to walk, not waiting for a reply. Margaret grits her teeth, eyes filling with tears, face flushed. She mumbles something in a small voice, something I'm just near enough to hear.
Why am I always so powerless?
Aw, Margaret. This statement catches me somewhat off guard. Margaret? Powerless? She's not a mercenary, to be sure, but she seems so certain of herself. Then again, I don't know the reason she needs to cross this lake. Before I can decide whether I should respond, the tears fade from her eyes. Margaret takes a deep breath.
Please be careful.
She takes a few steps back, lingering near enough for Bemele. Bemele smiles, first at the stranger and then at me.
Take care back here, alright? We'll all be together again when we reach the halfway island. It won't be too much longer now. We'll have a nice little camp out, and you can properly introduce yourself to us. Maybe even tell a real joke or two.
The man emits a nervous little laugh and ducks his head. The prospect must not be enticing to him. With the stranger having pulled himself out of the conversation, Bemele looks seriously at me.
I'm sorry to put you in even more.
Stop.
Bemele shakes his head, still smiling. This is why you bay.
I don't begrudge you at all. In fact, I'm glad you did. All I want is for you to remember that goal. Each of us, together, on the island, and then on the other shore, safe. This isn't about what our job is, or where other people need us to be.
I nod in response. Bemele opens his mouth, then closes it. He swallows hard.
You two.
I'm surprised to hear his voice wavering slightly. He swallows again, then continues.
You two should look out for each other.
Aw. He takes a few steps back as if to go, but his eyes don't leave mine. He hesitates for a moment. Then he crosses back to me and puts a hand on my shoulder. Ugh, the romance is always there between them. He smiles at me, a smile full of pride and nervousness and fear. I smile back, doing my best to communicate my gratitude and my resolve. But okay, yeah, they could just be good partners, best friends. But the love! I can't tell whether he understands. He softly glides his hand down the width of my arm before moving away for good. Ooh, he was filling her up. Then he takes his position ahead of Margaret.
Watch out for yourself, too. Not just for everyone else.
I will.
The guide's figure disappears, with only his lantern to lead the way. Bemele and Margaret are finally forced to leave us behind and catch up with him. I watch them disappear into the fog, an odd feeling in the pit of my stomach. I cannot recall the last time I had difficulty seeing someone leave.
You should go after them.
Too late now. I'm already on your route. I start. I almost forgot the man was there, standing right next to me. Now he looks at me with desperate eyes.
You don't need to do this.
What?
I'd rather know you returned to them safe, and that you all had a chance to make it back together. The way they acted, having to go on without you, no one would feel that way for me. I'm not worth it.
Dude, come on.
That's not...
I stop, unable to say the last word. Can I claim that he's wrong? This is the one thing he has seemed sure of, and I do not know him. Empty platitudes may be worse than nothing at all. He smirks at my mumbling reply. I'm caught off guard by the change. With only that, it seems he's in his element.
It's true.
You're kind of a weird guy. He continues to grin, more so to himself than me.
You lot certainly made a scene, huh? That's nice. Being loved and all.
He clarifies after I must have given an undesired reaction to the statement. I am so disconnected with myself, I am unsure if surprise appeared on my face, or if it was a lack of emotion that put him off.
I don't know exactly what kind of love it is you share, but there has to be a bond in that group of yours.
Boy, that's an OT3 right there. The potential was there.
I mean, especially with the big one. You wouldn't look at anyone like that.
Mm-hmm. He laughs and then speaks quietly.
It doesn't matter. I can still try for the other shore. Go.
I will stay. My certainty shocks him. I can tell immediately he has returned to his meeker self. The man starts to speak again, but I interrupt.
We should start walking. That should be enough of a head start for them.
He hesitates a moment, but ultimately begins walking at my side. I'm relieved. I can never be quite sure what will come from this one. We move in silence. The man doesn't seem to want to speak anymore, but he keeps glancing at me as if expecting something. Somehow his odd behavior is comforting rather than disconcerting. Perhaps it's because he's more nervous about all this than I am. It's putting me at ease, making me feel more capable. I shouldn't allow myself to get comfortable, however. We're in a more dangerous position than ever. Ooh. Oh god. I hear it so clearly in my ears. The whispering from the lake, so faint after Bemele's close call, now surges forth. It grows nigh unbearable, the creatures teeming below the surface. I dare not speculate on what has them so excited.
Have you a name?
The man chuckles dryly.
Barely.
I don't really know what I am to take from that.
This time his laugh is more of a bark, quickly out and swallowed back up. Then he frowns.
Lou. Only 2 letters. So barely.
Ah,
I see. What are you doing out here without the guide?
perhaps the question isn't appropriate to ask. After all, only the darkest of circumstances spurs someone to cross Sinlos. But this situation is very strange. I might even go so far as to say it's suspicious. I know that's not fair, but I can't help it. Years spent anticipating danger have made me worry.
That's a good question. I'm not sure I know myself.
What does that mean? Is that some sort of joke too? Or do you genuinely not remember how you arrived where you are?
No, it wasn't a joke. Or, well, there is a point to it all.
Then his voice, already by nature light and airy, drops to a whisper.
But I don't know why I even tried. You'd think that I'd be able to call a spade already, right?
He looks up, noticing my gaze still leveled at him. Then he shrugs.
I'd rather not talk about it.
As what has become the norm, I don't fully understand what he means, but I can at least guess that he's not very happy with himself at present, and like it or not, he won't be sharing his real reasons with me.
What about you? What brings you out on this little adventure?
People. On the other side. People who need my help.
You have someone waiting on you? Then why are you risking yourself on me instead of worrying about what's going to happen to them?
I feel my brows furrow from my speck of alarm. Is that really what he took from this? I survey his face with a flick of my eyes, but there's no mischievous gleam to his look now. He's serious. We hold eye contact for a moment until he yet again stares down at the ground.
Sorry. I didn't mean to be disrespectful. It just fell out somehow. I wasn't thinking.
You're important as well. His stare sheets back up at me, eyes wide.
Of course I'm going to be there for those counting on me. But you aren't nothing. I won't simply turn my back on you.
Aww. He smiles sadly, The kind of smile only someone who has experienced great hardship has. A smile I'm all too familiar with.
I probably have to disagree. Still, that's nice of you to say.
We may not know each other well, but you wanted us to go on without you for our own safety. You even tried to have a sense of humor about it. That counts for something.
My statement is far from grand, yet he becomes distinctly bashful all of a sudden, twitching his legs with each step. He hangs his head and mumbles his next phrase. Sadly, he seems unaccustomed to receiving praise.
That's true. Thank you for staying back with me. It's kind of nice.
Aw.
No need to thank me.
Oh, right. I can't even show gratitude correctly. Of course.
I go to give him a look, but he's smiling. He looks less pitiful than usual. He almost seems content. While crossing Sinlows? How? Why?
It is not funny to make a joke out of thinking that way about yourself.
He has, really bad self-esteem. Poor guy.
If you don't want people to say things like that, then you shouldn't reject their thanks. Either I did right by thanking you, or I did wrong.
Really smartass.
Fine. You're welcome.
This time he lets out a real laugh, though a short one.
I'm glad.
He stretches out his arms in front of him and elongates his stride so he's walking a bit ahead of me. It sits wrong with me. He's relaxed and completely unguarded. He's even fine with distancing himself from the light, and all the odd comments he has said so far. Then a thought strikes me. Maybe the reason he's so calm is that he doesn't care what happens to him. My heart plummets into my gut. For a time, there is relative peace in the silence between us. Then Lou sighs heavily.
I never could have seen myself in a situation like this. It seems things really aren't over until they're over.
Did you think it was over?
He doesn't answer immediately. When he does, the reply is accompanied by him grasping himself, like he might fall apart if he lets go.
Yeah, I did.
That would have been the normal outcome for his situation. Alone, lightless. I shouldn't have asked. I must have let a frown slip through, because Lou smiles a non-smile. Really? Smiles a non-smile, okay. He stretches his hand behind his neck and gives a little chuckle.
Something really is wrong with me. Somehow, I feel lighter.
Alright, well, maybe this is good. If he's feeling better than he was, then perhaps his view of himself will improve.
I wonder who'll still be left standing when this is truly all over.
What?
Everyone will be.
I say it firmly to end the discussion, but Lou's expression grows grave and unusually sympathetic.
You know that's not possible, don't you? Someone will go. You should focus on making sure it's someone else.
You don't seem to be concerned with self-preservation.
That came out more hostile than I expected. He doesn't mind it.
True, but it's not the same for me.
He's a strange fellow. That's why I was suspicious of him the first time I played, and I was like, yeah, let's just leave him behind. I still don't know how I'm supposed to interact with a person like him. Making conversation is already not a strength I possess. Regardless, Lou echoing that sentiment was not something I had expected. The whispers from the lake, which had already grown, now speak faster and clearer. The individual words are almost audible. I'd likely be able to make them out if I knew the Nyx language. For a split second, I wish I did. The light in the distance still drifts along in the same manner as it did when we first started walking, which I take to mean the path hasn't turned so far. Hopefully that means we're still on the right path. But the light, it got brighter? Uh-oh. It's strong enough that I have to glance away for a second, and the next time I look, the light has grown. The bridge is on fire! Uh-oh. I grab Lou's arm without thinking. He's standing there, stiff, staring at the glow, eyes dull. I'm gonna save because I feel like something's about to happen.
We're going to run.
Okay. To hell with the guide's order. If we don't go now, we will never go anywhere again. Lou doesn't respond. I give his arm a small tug, and he appears to come to himself when he nods at me. I make the decision then that I won't let go of his arm. I don't know what'll happen to him if I do. We take off, the heat growing with each step. The dankness of the bridge means the fire is spreading slowly, but it makes me question how it began in the first place. There is no end to how wrong this place is. It takes 20 paces before the air around us ripples, then starts folding into itself. Thick smoke pours over us, stinging like scorpions at my eyes. I cover my mouth with my free arm to keep breathing, and soon we're at the fire itself. Gosh, I just love the atmosphere of this game. And the music's so good. The bridge lurches beneath us, as if the beams supporting it are starting to give way to the thousands of flying sparks. Lou stumbles and pulls against me for support, but we keep our ground. I start pulling him through the blaze. We don't have time to gather our bearings. Who knows how long we have until the bridge collapses or is devoured by flames. As we push through the smoke, Lou, wheezing for breath beside me, figures emerge. Bemele and Margaret. Oh, this is new. I look at the two and the situation around them, baffled. None of the individual pieces make any sense until the reality of it hits me all at once. The guide is gone. Uh-oh. Margaret paused at the bridge. Her lantern is at her side. It's her glasses she's missing. Bemele is off to the other side, lanternless, with only the flickering embers in the wind to keep him out of the darkness. I want to pretend that they're both fine, that they'll be capable of handling themselves, but I know that's just wishful thinking. Both of them are in danger. I don't know how the Nixie feel about fire, how daring they'll be with it so close by, but I can't assume this is an opportunity they would want to miss. I have to do something, and I have to do it now. I waste not a moment more, rushing to Bemele, Lou in tow. Bemele and I arrived here together. We agreed to see it through to the end. We promised to protect each other. I have to be there for him. When I reach his side and illuminate his face with my lantern, he's beaming. I'm sure some part of him thought that when we parted, it may have been for good.
It's a relief to see you. Both of you.
Then there's a scream. Margaret is nowhere to be seen. The light of her lantern is gone. She's trapped in the darkness. Uh-oh.
Margaret?
Did she move? Did she fall? Did the bridge collapse?
Kika!
Uh-oh. I hear her and turn in her direction. There, through the smoke, I see her looking up at me. She's trying to stand, but she's struggling for some reason. Then I see a gleam of white on slick black behind her and understand why.
Run!
A Nyx grabs hold of her dress just as she gets to her feet. It pulls. She slams back to the ground, head hitting the bridge with a sickening thud. Margaret groans and starts to yell, "Oh no! Just because I'm not on her route, does that mean she's gonna die? Holy crap, that would suck."
Let go of me! Let go!
No! She's flailing, kicking her legs and arms. She's disoriented. She doesn't know where it's coming from. The Nyx yanks her again. Another grabs hold, and she feels the tug enough to grab onto that portion of her dress and tear it. She's trying to rip it off. Do what you gotta do, girl. I run to her side, my light finally illuminating her form. Seeing the light spill onto her, the Nyx retreat back into the water, but they don't let go of her dress. Margaret screams, being dragged across the bridge. She digs her nails into the wood to stop herself, hands bleeding, but each soggy hold she finds slips through her grasp. I reach my hand out to her.
Grab it!
Margaret looks at me, kicking again with her leg. She doesn't even try to reach for me. She knows it's not going to fix this. Oh no! No! Oh my god, this sucks! Then she disappears. There's a quiet splash.
No!
Oh! I'm so upset right now. No, just because we weren't there to protect her. Oh, I'm so upset. I rush to the edge of the bridge, searching the water for some sign of her. But there's nothing. Nothing but the placid black sheen of the lake. They took her down with the rest of them. Tears burn my eyes. Oh, my heart. No.
I'm sorry, Margaret. None of this should have happened.
God dang it. Stupid guide. Then a warm hand clasped my shoulder. Bemele. He smiles through a pained expression. I stare at him and can barely keep myself together. Ugh, I'm so upset.
What happened to the guide? Is he also?
My voice cracks in spite of myself. I don't know that I want to hear the answer, but it has to be said.
No, that man's still slinking around this hell on Earth. The bridge jerked, Margaret's glasses fell off, and the guide kept going. I stayed, but I kept my distance in case...
He looks away.
In case there was a repeat of last time. I shouldn't have stayed so far off.
It's not your fault. I could have thrown my lantern or gone to her sooner or anything.
Kika.
I'm furious with myself. It's our fault Margaret was put in danger in the first place. Margaret didn't get to choose whether Lou came, either. I made that call. This sucks. Why'd you have to kill her? She was so kind to us, and yet when the choice had to be made, I threw her to the side. Bemele seems to have read my mind and comforts me over thoughts I leave unsaid.
Listen to me. We tried. You never gave up on anyone. Not for a second.
He puts his second hand on my other shoulder and resists the urge to embrace me fully. The bridge trembles underneath us once more. I gather what wits I have at my disposal.
We need to leave. Which way did the guide go?
I don't know for sure, though he went off in that direction. The fog overtook him, but I didn't see him turn.
That will work. Lou?
I look around for him, realizing he's not with me any longer. Dagnabbit, you stupid boy! At some point, I let go of his arm. Oh, there he is. Ugh. He's standing to the side, gaze glazed, transfixed on the darkness. He seems completely unaware of everything that's happened. The fire, the Nixie, the death. I step forward and yank him back to my side. He has issues.
What are you doing?
He flinches at the unexpected contact and looks attentively at me, but he doesn't offer an explanation.
I'm sorry.
I don't know, dude. You're kind of two-faced. I don't like that. That is all he ever says. I let go of him.
Both of you stay close. We are not going to separate again.
We keep down the path, the flames still gradually gnawing on the planks behind us. The guide doesn't turn up, nor do any signs of him, but we push on. We will not stop moving. Then we do. The bridge comes to a dead end of rotted out boards collapsed onto the lake. For a moment our breathing stops at once. If this was the way that led to the island, then... I flip back to face the others, my expression unaffected. I'm not going to allow panic to sap this group of judgment.
Let's look for another bridge.
I resolutely begin retracing our path. The others follow without protest. Our regression is silent except for our footfalls and the snapping of soggy wood attempting to burn. We frequently have to step over smoldering sections trying to come alight. At one point, we even have to walk one at a time, sideways, to avoid a wildly flickering small fire billowing out black smoke. Just as my spirit is beginning to dim, we come across different directions to take. Uh-oh. Among all the forks, there are only two that aren't collapsed or too consumed by fire to risk taking.
We're going to have to pick one.
Bemele sounds uncharacteristically doubtful of himself. Lou's gaze is flickering down either path. There's a palpable sense of anxiety coming from him.
I don't know. I don't know which way.
It's alright.
But it's not alright. We have to have something to go off of. Anything at all. A cold sweat trickles its way down my back. Uh-oh. Before anyone tries to randomly choose, a noise catches my attention. I hastily address the two.
Did you hear that?
A whistle.
It came from the right.
Was that, the guide actually helping them for once? Lou and I trade looks. This could be the signal we need. But what if it isn't?
Do those monsters know how to whistle?
I don't know. It seems unlikely. The air isn't pleasant to them. They're underwater creatures.
We should go right, I think, to where the sound came from.
I'm a little surprised Lou is offering his own opinion. It is good to hear, however. I take a deep breath.
I agree. There's more of a chance the whistle was a sign for good over ill.
Our course decided. I thought I would have to choose. Okay. We move as one down the right path, no longer hesitating. As we follow the bridge down, there is no sign of the end. There's no need to debate between directions again. We start to outpace the fire, one danger thankfully fading away, but the night continues to lighten regardless. I glance at the sky and realize what's happening. The sun is rising. The bridges will sink into the water as the darkness disappears and take us with them. We'll be lost. Here comes the part where we gotta race against the sun. It suddenly seems pointless. We don't even know whether we've gone the right way, and we still haven't caught up to the guide. We can't outswim the Nixie, and we can't outrun the dawn. We're going to run out of time. Yet we keep moving forward. And finally, our perseverance is rewarded. The silhouette of an island rises in the distance. The island grows rapidly larger, and soon the sense of earth and trees reaches us. In spite of all the horrors of this night, a dock emerges from the fog before us, welcoming us to safety. We reach the shore. Okay. I don't believe it until I've stepped off the wood and my boot sinks into the sand. I walk further inland like a corpse, my sole instinct to flee from the waterline. My hazy eyes single in on something ahead. The guide stands on an outcropping in the distance, watching like a sentinel. He doesn't even come to greet us. Yeah, Margaret's dead thanks to you, you jerk. Even though he did probably whistle to save them right now. He's such a two-faced jerk. I stare at him for a moment, not even able to feel alarmed at my own lack of feelings about the situation. He uses his staff to gesture to the forest behind him before disappearing between the trees. I can only assume he must be asking me to follow.
Did he even notice?
Bemele's biting whisper doesn't continue beyond that, but it doesn't have to. Did the guide notice someone is missing? That they have been taken? Bemele stalks off, clenching his fists. I can't blame him, but I don't share his anger. I still feel hollow. I follow after Bemele, and Lou does the same. The guide takes us further inland, more towards the center. There's a view of the coastline from here, but we're also partially obscured by a few trees.
It's time to sleep.
No one has the energy to argue with him at this moment. I found a place as comfortable as one could ask for in a location like this, next to one of the trees further out, and lay down, trying to block out my thoughts. For once, exhaustion is my ally, and I slip off into sleep. Okay, I think this is a good time to end this episode. So this will probably be a shorter series because I already played through 2 routes in the streams, and it seems like the pacing goes by pretty fast in this game, especially when I'm not stopping to talk to people during a stream, you know? So this will be a short little something to tide us over until I start my new blind LP. But thank you guys so much for watching. I'm sorry for the long wait before I continued this game. I hope you're enjoying it, and until next time, have a nice day. Bye-bye. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. And also make sure to ring the bell for notifications for new episodes. You can follow me on Twitch, where I stream every week, and also follow me on Twitter for updates. Until next time, have a nice day. Adios!